Hey guys, welcome back to the Jay's Fit Down Podcast. I am your host, Jaden. Today we're going to be recapping week 6 of the NFL as well as predictions for week 7. I'm going to be recapping some teams and my thoughts on the weekend. Some teams that look good, some teams that look bad. We'll get into that just here in a second, but make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check us out on YouTube. We're also on Spotify and all other podcast platforms. And follow us on the socials, IG, Twitter, TikTok as well, so make sure you check us out there for more content as we update you there. And also, if you haven't already, guys, go ahead and purchase my book, The Soldier. It is now available on Amazon for purchase. You can, I believe, a link in the description below, so you can go easily click that link and it'll take you there. You can go support. We really appreciate it. Being an author of 2 books now, I think I found another hobby, so in writing, so it's pretty interesting there. Make sure you check that out. Now, week 6, a lot of interesting games. I want to talk about first though. The Lions and the Buccaneers. This was a game that I thought had a chance. Really, they could go either way because the Bucs have actually been playing good football this year. Despite what others, what many people thought was going to be just a tanking season for them. Like, hey, let's go get Caleb Williams, right? Shout out Nick and Mike down there in Tampa. Really Nick's a Bucs fan, but against the call, those guys are great. You guys should check their podcasts out. Anyway, the point is, I thought that, the Lions have one of the best rosters in the NFL this year. And that's just like saying it lightly. They have a really good team. From top to bottom, Brad Holmes has built a great roster. The GM there, he's done a phenomenal job since taking over. I mean, trading Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff, right? Like that move, if you do that move, it has to work for you, because if it doesn't, then it's a big backlash and like you're getting looked at very wrongly by not only the fan base but your own franchise as well, players, coaches, and ownership. So that move has to work out for you, and it has so far for the Lions. I mean, last year when they started going their little win streak and played, they were playing good football, beat Green Bay last game of the year to keep them from going to the playoffs. From that point on, I really knew that this team is scary. And as long as they continue to get the right pieces in there and develop their players, like they're going to be a problem. The Detroit Lions are a problem. I mean, because look, you look at it, the way they run their team is like, hey, you know what? Offensively, we're going to run the football down your throat, and we're going to make you stop us if and you won't be able to, and then we're going to hit you with that hard play action. And get the ball into the hands of our playmakers, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, the rookie tight end, who has been phenomenal this year for them. So with those 3 guys on the field for a defense, it's like, where do you prioritize? And not only that, but you got Josh Reynolds, you got Khalif Raymond, who they like to, use on jet sweeps and those little speedy plays, for guys like him, kind of their gadget player, right? Even out the backfield, Jahmyr Gibbs, they get the ball to him out the backfield, throwing the football. He lines up out wide sometimes. And then you got David Montgomery bruising down the middle, running the ball. So, unfortunately, he's hurt at the moment, but still, this team is very good defensively. Aiden Hutchinson, he's got 4.5 sacks for 6 games, pretty good. Elaine McNeil, I mean, they got guys on that defense that can play good football. Kerry Joseph, I mean, just overall, Alex Anzalone at the middle linebacker spot, he's been playing really well this year. Like, I really like top to bottom what I'm seeing from Detroit, and they sit at 5-1 right now. I mean, there's a chance that this is a playoff team for sure. Like, I mean, and you look at their schedule over the next couple of weeks, they realistically could, put themselves in a spot where they're ahead in their division in the NFC North. This is definitely a playoff team. I'll even go as far as to say they're divisional round team. I think they can make it that far. Because you talk about the best teams in the NFC: Philly, Dallas, San Francisco. I mean, those 3. I have to put the Lions right there at that 4th spot, because who overtakes them in the NFC? Nobody. There are no other teams that could compete with the likes of those 3, except I think the Detroit Lions, who could beat either of those teams. If you're asking me honestly, I think they can beat any of those teams. And so I like when I turn on the tape what I see from them. And you look at their win over Tampa Bay. Jameson Williams, I mean, his first game back from the suspension, he had a 45-yard touchdown. I mean, that was huge for them. He's getting that getting the energy, hype and stuff. Jared Goff had a good day throwing the football. They didn't really run the ball that well, but it didn't matter because they were so able to pass the ball efficiently. And so from that, it's just like this is a team that you have to watch out for because they can make the playoffs. They can make noise. Moving on, and then the Bucks, on their side, like they got to figure some things out. I believe they dropped to 3-3 on the season, so they're playing the Falcons this weekend. So that's going to be a big game for them at home in Atlanta. They come off a loss to Washington as well, at home. So it'll be a good game for those two to figure out, the NFC South standings, right? So this huge game. Falcons, Desmond Ritter, he played okay, but then the 3 interceptions, it's like, I just don't understand. To me, it looks like the offense for, Arthur Smith, he's trying to overcomplicate things. And when you're a coach, you can't overcomplicate things, particularly on offense, defense too, for your players, just because you want to make things fancy, kind of, you want to confuse defenses. Like, you can't do that. You have to run your offense in a way where the players understand the verbiage, they understand the blocking assignments, they understand the routes they have to run, they understand the reads. The quarterback has to understand the reads he has to make. Hey, this defensive end, if he sits outside, then hey, I'm going to throw this pass. If that linebacker, if he bites on that on the run, then we're throwing the ball right there, right? It's those things like that. Easy make the reads easy, make it to where your players can understand what they're doing. Still you want to have your own unique element because you have to in today's league, how you want to run things offensively, but still you can't make it so complicated to the point where your players do not understand what they're doing or they're struggling to put together consistent offensive, production of week in week. And the Falcons have been not being able to do that. They've been starting slow every week on offense, so that's just an area of concern. And even me being a former player, I would want to play in a system where I understand the play calls, I understand the blocking assignments, I know where I have to go, not where it's just so many interchanging parts. It makes it hard on a player to do that. So as a coach, you have to be able to, understand what is a way that I can, still have this unique element to my offense or my defense, but to where my players can still comprehend it and, execute the plays to the level to which they're to be executed at. So, and you can't turn the football over 3 times. Desmond Ritter, you can't turn the football over. You can't throw 3 interceptions. You cannot throw an interception in the end zone. That's another thing. He should have threw the ball away right there. So it's still some growing pains with Dez right now. I mean, he's, it's really his first year playing meaningful snaps as far as, consistently. So you expect the miscues here and there, but, he's got to pick it up because the Falcons right now, in their mind, think they can contend and they want to go try to make the playoffs. So they got to pick it up. And, a lot of it is the play calling. It's not so much Desmond Ritter, but a lot of it's Arthur Smith and the play calling that has to be better. It's got to be a little bit more, it's got to be dumbed down just a little bit. But moving on from that note, switching over to the Eagles and the Jets. Great game there for the Jets. They get the win over Philly. A lot of people are concerned about Jalen Hurts in that Philly offense, the passing game specifically, because they're just not looking that good last couple of weeks, even though, it's still the Eagles. I still think they're going to be good. I still think they're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. I think they're going to be in the conference championship at the end of the year in the playoffs. He's got 7 picks through 6 games, which is not good. But, hey, I expect them to bounce back from those turnovers. And I think the Eagles will be back soon. Back to their regular winning ways, so, but, one of the matchups that really intrigued me this weekend was the Browns and the 49ers. The 49ers were missing some people, I understand that, but still it's like, for the way Cleveland was able to shut them down defensively, which they've been doing all year long. Like, shout out to the Browns defense. They've been playing really good this year, one of the best in the league. You look at all the statistics, important stats there. They're topping like every category almost. Myles Garrett had a great game against Trent Williams, a really good offensive lineman, and he was able to get by him a couple of times, right? So if the Browns' offense was just somewhat competent, they could be a decent team in the AFC. But for right now, they're just not because offensively, you know they're relying too much on their defense, to win games for them because Deshaun Watson's hurt and you got PJ Walker starting for them, and they got a game against the Colts this weekend, which is going to be huge. And I think they're going to win, but you gotta, offensively, you got to find some type of rhythm here. And you lose your starting running back for the year, Nick Chubb, is always tough, and you lose your starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson, which is also tough. But still, you got to find a way. Offense has got to find a way to get it done. But yeah, other than that, like I said, main takeaways: Lions, one of the best teams in the NFL, one of the best teams in the NFC. I think they're the playoff team this year. Like I said, in the offseason, even some teams like even surprised like the Texans. They're 3-3 right now. Whoever would have thought that? Like, who would have thought with first-year head coach D'Amico Ryans, you got a rookie quarterback and C.J. Stroud starting, and the defense is still kind of young. They're still figuring things out defensively, and they're 3-3 through 6 games. You can't ask for a much better start than that, particularly for the Texans situation coming into the year. And then you look at the fact that, that the Titans are a mess, in their own respect. I think Mike Vrabel has a chance of getting fired by the end of the year if things don't turn out well. They're already talking about trading Derrick Henry at the deadline, which is under 2 weeks away. October 31st is the trade deadline. So if the Titans don't continue to if they don't get things rolling, they don't play better, then you can expect to see Derrick Henry traded. My pick is if he gets traded, is either going to be to the Bills or I really think it would be the Bills. I can't really see another team right now at the moment. Maybe the Ravens, possibly. Just so those two teams I think would probably trade for him. Even and you got the Panthers too shopping some players on the trade market right now. Brian Burns reportedly, Terrace Marshall Jr. Just to name a few names right there, because they're 0-6. Bryce Young, he's still figuring things out, and the offensive play calling has not been good for the Panthers. So they're 0-6 right now, and you would think they get a win here soon. If you're a Panthers fan, you hope for that. So, but hey, keep losing. Hey, I'm a Falcons fan, so keep losing, Carolina. Right. So now I'm going to move on to my Week 7 predictions. You got the Saints and Jags tonight on Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. I got the Jags win this game. If Trevor Lawrence plays, he's questionable. If he doesn't play, the Saints will win. C.J. Beathard will start if Trevor Lawrence doesn't get cleared to play. So we'll keep you guys updated on that as we hear much more closer to kickoff. Then after that, to start off the weekends on Sunday, you got let's see here. It's Falcons and Bucks. I think the Falcons are going to win this game. I think they can bounce back on the road and win. They've struggled to play on the road. In Tampa, they need to get this win. Both teams are in a spot where they need this win for the division. Standings. So I got the Falcons, Raiders and Bears. Raiders are going to win. Justin Fields is hurt. It'll be an ugly game, but the Raiders will get this win. Browns and Colts, as I just mentioned, I think Cleveland is going to win this game. Anthony Richardson, if you guys don't know, he's out for the rest of the season. He's got to get season-ending surgery on his shoulder. So, that's what happens when you run your quarterback to death. Commanders and Giants, got the Commanders getting this win. They're coming off of the win against Atlanta here, so they got some momentum going. Sam Howell starting to get things, figure things out. And the Giants they're a train wreck right now too. So I think Washington gets this win. And you got the Lions and the Ravens. Like I just mentioned, this game is. I really think everybody should circle this matchup because again, you got two teams who are playing good football, two physical teams that pride on running it and playing good defense, right? So it'll be a very good test, good battle for sure in the trenches. It's going to be a battle. I want to see if the Lions continue to stick with the run the football, and then get that hard play action going, or will they drop back and just pass the ball all day? I don't know. I don't think they are. Baltimore's not going to let them do that defensively. So we'll see how they react with that. And for the Ravens, you got to continue to do what you've been, just get the offense more and more in tune each week, right? That's the goal, and get those wins. So it'll be definitely an interesting matchup for sure. As we move throughout the Week 7 games here. Bills and Patriots. Bills